Well, for more insight into China's auto market, Lauren Fix joins us from Las Vegas. She is the president of Automotive Aspects and also known as the Car Coach. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I mean, hydrogen-powered cars, is this the wave of the future?
Absolutely. Actually, hydrogen was something that was a technology that had been worked on before the Obama administration here in the U.S. They had thought this was going to be the new transition. They had fuel cells they had tested with hydrogen powering combustion engines, and this technology works. And out the tailpipe, you have water, and we have an abundance of hydrogen in the air. There was just no infrastructure. When the next administration came in here in the U.S., it became battery powered, and so forth. This technology got shelved. So now we're merging the two technologies together by using hydrogen, and I have driven these vehicles both by Hyundai and by Honda, who have tested them for quite a while in California, and it works. It's easy to fill up, just like we're used to, and it powers battery-powered vehicles.
Yeah, probably solving some of the problems that we see when it comes to those electric vehicles. I mean, some of these cars, they're on display right now at the China International Import Expo. What do you think the goal of the auto importers at that event is at this point?
Well, at this point, they're looking to try to increase some of the sales in China. Although sales have been soft for the last 15 or 16 months, and basically the sales of Chinese-built vehicles are dropped off. They're trying to fill that void. They're even bringing the Corvette, which is a gasoline-powered vehicle, and coming out for 2020. It's going to be there, and that's going to be a very exciting product. And maybe that's what they're thinking. They need to bring some more exciting products. And even though China is trying to get all the manufacturers to produce more plug-in vehicles, and 60% is what the government is demanding by 2035.
Yeah, but that being the case, I mean, this is really a strategic industry for the Chinese government, but we've seen that sales of these electric vehicles, these hybrid vehicles, they've been tumbling right along with regular car sales in China. And part of this is because the government has been relaxed in some of these great incentives that they've had for the last couple of years. Do you think they're going to have to reinstate those to sort of jumpstart the market again?
Well, we have learned that without the incentive, there's not a lot of people buying that. And you'll learn that by certain countries like the Netherlands had removed the incentive. You're watching the incentive dwindle down. By the end of 2021, it'll be completely gone in China, and it does impact sales. So without that incentive, people are not considering them as an option. And this is a concern, which tells me, and you're noticing that by the sales here in the U.S., that people aren't interested in electric vehicles because of the charging time, the distance between charges. They just don't want the hindrance and the additional price to purchase one of those. And gasoline just seems to make the most sense, or diesel in Europe seems to be a better option.
Yeah, more convenient. On those new energy vehicles, the domestic brands have really dominated the space for such a long time, but this is starting to really shift towards joint ventures. Do you think that this, how is this going to play out going forward, and does it actually lead to more JVs going forward?
The partnership with China and bringing in other countries, other companies such as Ford or GM, is really helped them get into the marketplace. Now, the first standalone, which won't be partnering with the Chinese government, is going to be Tesla. This is a make it or break it for this car company, because bringing in more car companies that don't have a relationship with China, we don't know what the impact's going to be, because without that incentive, building electric vehicles, and people aren't buying them because of the cost and, of course, the charging and the infrastructure, they're eventually going to have some issues. We also have to keep in mind that the infrastructure, as far as the charging network, there just isn't enough power, so they're building nuclear power plants as quickly as they can, and hydrogen may be the only other answer. And again, we're putting the cart before the horse. We're producing cars that we don't have the infrastructure in place.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Tesla there. Its Shanghai Gigafactory is expected to be online in the next couple of weeks. Do you think this will actually change the dynamic within China? Because their cars are priced above some of the domestic manufacturers.
Absolutely, $50,000 in U.S. dollars. I don't have the conversion to the Chinese dollar, to the yen, but when you're looking at that, that's a huge dollar amount, and the average person's not going to be able to afford that. And they're going to look for the Chinese brands and some of the other brands that are coming in at more reasonable prices. If you're going to buy electric, obviously you're trying to save money, and this is one way to do it. So we're going to see if this is a make it or break it for Tesla. I know that we'll have some sales, but remember, in Hong Kong, they removed the incentive and they sold like 2 cars. So without the incentive, it may be very difficult for Tesla to sell a lot of vehicles.
I want to shift outside of China a little bit and talk about the EU, because the Trump administration has until next week, actually a week from today, to decide on whether it's going to impose tariffs on European cars. We heard from outgoing European Commissioner Jean-Claude Juncker. He told a German newspaper, this is going to run tomorrow, that the administration is not going to go through with these tariffs. Is that your sense? Are they going to be put to the side? Are they going to get delayed again? Are they just going to disappear altogether?
It looks like the incentives are going to disappear from what I'm hearing. Again, like you're hearing, the same type of thing. If that occurs, it'll be good for the EU. It'll also be good for getting vehicles into all the different marketplaces. In addition, we do know that there's supposed to be some deal being signed in the very near future with China and the US, which will help remove some of the tariffs, and that'll be good for everybody's economy.
All right, Lauren Fix, thank you so much for joining us, President of Automotive Aspects.